worldwide pushback on Turkey's decision to turn a historic church into a mosque. We'll talk about it today on the broadcast. The fight to preserve Hagia Sophia in Istanbul as a museum that all can visit, both Christians and Muslims, that the work that can continue to uncover that Byzantine and Roman artwork, early Christian artwork, early depictions of Christ. We're talking about the depictions of Christ 300 years after the resurrection. It was the largest religious place of worship in the world until the Vatican was built. I mean, this is a historic place, but then it became a symbol of conquering. So it became a symbol of conquering from different Christian groups. Then it became a symbol of conquering from the Ottoman Turks, and they turned it into a mosque. But Ataturk, who was a more secular leader of Turkey, said, you know, I don't want this symbol of Turkey, this great site we have, to be a symbol of conquering, considering we are a diverse people where we have different kinds of Muslims, different kinds of Christians and other faiths here. And so it will become a museum for everyone. That means we will start to uncover what was covered up, thankfully not destroyed, that Christian artwork, and also the Islamic artwork as well. Now, remember, Christian artwork can depict images of Christ and the disciples and Mary and baby Jesus. In the Islamic world, they used a very beautiful text because they do not do images. So that you see both at Hagia Sophia right now because It's a museum, not a place of worship. And we are starting to see, Dad, some major worldwide condemnation. Our team out of Russia put together a report. There's even more than English press was reporting there, from Putin, from the foreign ministry, from the patriarch of the Russian Orthodox Church, which represents over 100 million Russian Orthodox Christians in Russia alone. Yep. I mean, and we're seeing it from the Islamic Society of North America and the United...
I want to pull this one up.
And the United Arab Emirates, which is a absolute Islamic monarchy with Sharia law, and they are all opposed.
So the Islamic Society of North America has released a statement condemning. Now, this is historic. The Islamic Society of North America has released a statement condemning Turkey's conversion of Hagia Sophia into a mosque. So this direct attack on Christianity is being met with worldwide condemnation, but also worldwide condemnation in the Muslim world. Now, I want you to think about the United Arab Emirates, as Jordan mentioned, said the same thing. Andy Economo's with us. He is a senior counsel for the ACLJ. He's been heavily involved in the fight for the Greek Orthodox Church, the remnant that remains of once historic Constantinople, now with unbelievable religious restrictions. But Andy, this is the great attack. I said this to you in a text, and I sent it to you and I think to your wife, Georgia, that it's the same playbook that the Ottomans used, which is conquer, conquest, destroy the Christian remnant.
Constantinople was destroyed by the Ottoman Turks in 29 March of 1453, and Hagia Sophia shortly thereafter was converted from the crown jewel of Eastern Christianity, which it always was and always will be, into a mosque, and remained a mosque until Ataturk in 1934 decided that the secularization of Turkey called for the ability to have equal access from all faiths, Muslim and Christian, to this holy site. And it is a symbol of conquest by Erdogan of his Christian populations. This is not a handout in the sense of joyfully reaching out to the Christian minorities in Turkey, whether they be Catholic or Armenian or Greek. This is a slap in their face.
Folks, the ACLJ is doing work all across the country on all the issues that you care about, all across the world on the issues you care about. And we're able to broadcast it to you because of your support. We're able to do the work in our country because of your support. We're able to do the work internationally because of your financial support. And this is a great time to make a financial contribution to the ACLJ because it's a matching challenge month. What does that mean? We have a group of donors ready to match every donation that comes into the ACLJ right now at aclj.org. You're literally doubling the impact of your donation. Your $25 donation That's what you're charged on your credit card. But that's like $50 for us to ACLJ. No amount too small, no amount too big. It all makes a huge impact. Go to aclj.org, be part of our matching challenge, and donate today.
For 30 years, the American Center for Law and Justice has been dedicated to protecting your religious and constitutional freedoms. Because of you, we've seen great success in the courts and Congress concerning the issues that matter most to you and your families. ACLJ Chief Counsel Jay Sekulow.
Our decades-long commitment to the Constitution and the rule of law is at the center of everything we do. The bottom line, our work could not take place without your generous support.
It's a critical time for our nation and our world. With so many challenges facing our country, the work of the American Center for Law and Justice has never been more important. There's no better way to support the ACLJ than through online giving.
We truly appreciate your financial support. Without it, it would be impossible to do our work here and around the globe. And the best way to support our work is to make your financial gifts online at aclj.org.
Donating online is safe and secure, and an online gift at aclj.org can be put to work immediately, enabling the ACLJ to continue the battle against abortion giant Planned Parenthood.
These are young people in their 20s and 30s that are doing this, are fighting for life at a whole new level to beat back the abortion juggernaut. We've got a whole group of young lawyers that are defending them.
To protect Christians facing persecution.
The release of Andrew Brunson. He is the American evangelical from North Carolina, held in Turkey for more than 2 years.
We're grateful to ACLJ who put it out to these people, they were getting all this out.
I'm thankful, I'm grateful, and actually I'm astounded.
To stand up for our good friend Israel. To work to uncover the corrupt deep state in Washington, and so much more. Take part in our matching challenge today. You can make a difference in the work we do. Give a gift today online at aclj.org.
Welcome back to Jay Sekulow Live. This is Jordan Sekulow, and I want to encourage you just to really get involved in this issue. The whole world is getting involved, and that means you need to get involved. Now, we've seen the United States, our Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, issue the condemnation. We've seen the UN. We've seen the European Union. We've seen the UK. We've seen UNESCO itself, because this is a World Heritage Site. But now it is expanding. And I was talking to our office in Moscow and our team there, because there are many Orthodox there. And the Russian Orthodox Church, actually 100 million out of the about 140 million Russians who live in the Russian Federation are Russian Orthodox. And their patriarch has come out strongly in opposition to this move. And that patriarch is very close to President Putin, who also spoke to Erdogan on July 13th and expressed the concerns of the Russian people as well. The Russian Foreign Ministry has come out in opposition, said that they regret the decision of the Republic of Turkey's leaders to turn the Hagia Sophia Cathedral Museum into a mosque and resume Muslim services there. So you've got both Putin engaging with Erdogan, you have the foreign ministry making the statement for the Russian Federation, and you have the leader of the largest religious denomination in Russia, who happens to be a very close advisor to Vladimir Putin, Patriarch Kirill, with 100 million plus members in Russia alone. That is over like 90% of the population there. And folks, you can engage as well, because the world is coming together. Islamic groups are coming out, as we talked about, to condemn this. The United Arab Emirates, which is a country that is an absolute Islamic monarchy with Sharia law, where it's 99.9% Muslim, has come out in opposition. In fact, their Minister of Culture and Youth said this: "It should neither be misused nor altered, Hagia Sophia, through change in a way that touches the human essence, especially for sites that are inscribed under World Heritage by UNESCO. They have exceptional international value and are the common heritage of all peoples and cultures. Hagia Sophia has remained a global landmark with significant cultural legacy. It has also served as a bridge connecting different peoples and cementing their bonds, both Muslims and Christians. World Heritage Sites have become the platforms for knowledge an exchange between diverse cultures and civilizations that evolved in history across time, Hagia Sophia is an important example of interaction and dialogue between Asia and Europe and should remain a witness to harmonious human history. Think about that. It is an architectural marvel, a unique witness to the interaction across centuries.
And who is this from?
This is from the United Arab Emirates Minister of Culture, so a cabinet member there.
There you go.
And that is a country that is ruled by Sharia law.
All right, joining us on the phone right now is a very good friend of ours. He is a senior correspondent, Middle East correspondent for CBN News, Chris Mitchell. And Chris, you've been handling this. Tell us what you're hearing, what you've seen, what your reporting indicates.
Well, Jay and Jordan, great to be with you. I think one important thing that needs to be reported is what Erdogan put on his Facebook page after he made the announcement about the Hagia Sophia, and he said this: "The arrival of the Hagia Sophia is a sign towards the return of freedom to the Al-Aqsa Mosque here in Jerusalem." And you know the Al-Aqsa Mosque is right on the Temple Mount. And the idea behind that is he wants to redeem not only the Hagia Sophia, which is such this amazing symbol of Christianity here in this region of the world, but he wants to liberate all the lands that were once under the control of Islam. This is an Islamic doctrine. He went on to say, Jay and Jordan, he said that the resurrection of the Hagia Sophia is a greeting from the heart to all cities, from Bukhara to Andalusia. For those that don't know the geography, Andalusia was one day Spain and Portugal. Bukhara is all the way to the east. It's modern-day Uzbekistan. So the idea behind that is that he wants to liberate, eventually, all the lands that were once under the sway of Islam. Right now, I'm looking out my window in my office here in Jerusalem. I'm looking at the walls of the old city. They were built by Mehmet, the conqueror, back in the 1500s. And so this land I'm sitting on was once Muslim land. So that's the idea behind his Facebook page about the Al-Aqsa Mosque, about Bukhara, Andalusia. His ambitions go far beyond just Turkey.
Andy, we talked about the fact that this is a conquering mentality, that this is a conquest mentality. We also know that we can be victorious. We will be victorious. In Greek, that's Nika. Say, I got a Greek word on you, Andy. But the fact of the matter is, we are going to. I really believe we are going to be victorious here. But explain, following up on what Chris said, explain what is the mindset here, because this is history repeating itself. I mean, it's the same playbook.
Jay, the mindset is Islam conquers and then appropriates for itself. But this is contrary to Islamic teaching. When the Hagia Sophia, which, by the way, means God's holy wisdom, and I'll say that word again, Hagia Sophia, the church of God's holy wisdom, was conquered by Mehmet the Conqueror in 1453. He decided, as a symbol of the conquest, to convert it into a mosque, but he also gave the patriarch at that time, Gennadios Scholarios, a horse and caparisoned it with colors and gave him his own cathedral. But he said he could not let him stay in the crown jewel of Christianity. But he gave him his own cathedral, recognizing, even in the 15th century, the right of the Christians to worship as they chose. It became a mosque, and it stayed a mosque until it became a museum. But this attitude of Ataturk, as the reporter who just spoke said, is one of conquest. He is the new sultan. He is going to take over all the Christian sites that were in Islamic lands and make them into Muslim Jamia, which means into temples of mosques. And this is the attitude of the conqueror versus the conquest. This is not a secular Turkey. This is a conquering mentality which we should decry and condemn. We need Hagia Sophia to remain a museum in the beautiful, incredible mosaics that Jordan and I have seen together that are a marvel to Christianity, that were covered up, Jay, by the Muslims when they took over Hagia Sophia. We don't want those desecrated. We want to see them in all their glory so that we too Christians, not a conquered people, can marvel and worship at those mosaics of Christ, the Virgin, and the Holy Apostles.
And Chris, I wanted to get into something a little geopolitical as well, since you live in Jerusalem, where all of these different religious groups, including the Russian Orthodox, Greek Orthodox, Protestants, Catholics, Jews, Muslims of all different backgrounds, have places, holy sites of worship. And Israel's done a very good job, I think, of keeping those open for those specific groups. We see the Russian Orthodox Patriarch. He said this: "Today, the relationship between Turkey and Russia is developing dynamically. At the same time, one should take into account that Russia is a country with the majority of population professing Orthodoxy. And so what may happen to Hagia Sophia will inflict great pain on the Russian people. I hope for the prudence of Turkey's state leadership, preservation of the current neutral status of Hagia Sophia, one of the greatest masterpieces of Christian culture and a church symbol for millions of Christians all over the world, will facilitate further development of the relationships between the people of Russia and Turkey." Chris, these are the kind of religious leaders. We know their relationship with people like Putin, very close, that when they speak and they say that this is going to have an impact on our foreign relations, this is a big deal.
It's a very big deal, Jordan. In fact, I know one of the Russian Orthodox leaders said that the church Hagia Sophia is the same comparison as St. Peter's Basilica. So people in the West could understand the importance of St. Peter's to Roman Catholics, and Hagia Sophia has the same influence. It means a great deal. And I think the fact that it does interplay with the geopolitics of the region, especially with Putin and Erdogan. We're talking about two strong leaders facing off against one another on this thing. And one thing I'd like to add, Jordan, is the fact that in geopolitics, Erdogan is really exerting influence throughout this region. He's working inside Libya militarily. He's actually asked for or tried to claim part of the Eastern Mediterranean as Turkish waters that comes against Greece. In northeast Syria, he's been attacking Christians and minorities. In Iraq, he's expanding because he sees Turkey as a greater Turkey. So geopolitically, this has a big, big impact in this region, Jordan.
Yeah, listen, right on with that. The deputy of the State Duma, the legislative branch in Russia, Alexei Zerlov, said Turkey is turning from a secular state into an Islamic state. It has nothing to do with religion. It is a political decision. Think about what Chris just said. We have a petition at ACLJ.org. 51,000 of you plus have signed on already. Stop Turkey from turning the historic Christian church into a mosque. We need a lot more people worldwide joining this petition to stop Turkey from taking this action against what is a historic church, Hagia Sophia, and turning it into, again, a symbol of Islamic conquering.
Folks, the ACLJ is doing work all across the country on all the issues that you care about, all across the world on the issues you care about. And we're able to broadcast it to you because of your support. We're able to do the work in our country because of your support. We're able to do the work internationally because of your financial support. And this is a great time to make a financial contribution to the ACLJ because it's a matching challenge month. What does that mean? We have a group of donors ready to match every donation that comes into the ACLJ right now at aclj.org. You're literally doubling the impact of your donation. Your $25 donation, that's what you're charged on your credit card. But that's like $50 for us to ACLJ. No amount too small, no amount too big. It all makes a huge impact. Go to aclj.org, be part of our matching challenge, and donate today.
Thanks to your support of the ACLJ, we have had many victories.
The IRS now formally apologizing to Tea Party groups.
If any group feels like they're being targeted, they can go to federal court and bring our case. That's a victory.
It's one of the most significant wins in the ACLJ's history, to take on the IRS and win.
For more than 27 years, the ACLJ has been fighting for freedom and liberty in the United States and around the globe.
These are young people in their 20s and 30s that are doing this, are fighting for life at a whole new level to beat back the abortion juggernaut. But I actually think we're winning this. This is one of the social issues we're winning.
The release of Andrew Brunson.
We're flying and they finally left Turkish airspace. It's like, okay, we're really out of Turkey and free again.
We need your help as we continue this work here in the United States and around the world. Join us online at the American Center for Law and Justice at aclj.org.
So I'm going to go up to Than in Washington, D.C., because Than is also our designated representative of the United Nations. The UN has designated this site with Turkey's consent. They signed on to the treaties, a World Heritage Site. The World Heritage Site was in the status of a museum, which allowed the mosaics, the depictions of Christ, to be fully not only restored, but viewed. And if people went in and silently prayed, they had the right to do that. Now, that's not happening right now, of course, in light of all of this. Now, we're putting on a lot of pressure. Let's talk about first the United Nations thing. What are we doing? What is the plan?
Well, first of all, the very reason it was designated a World Heritage Site is because of the ecumenical nature of the site. So if you take that away, it would no longer merit designation. We are making that case to the United Nations, to the General Assembly. Jay, there's also going to be opportunities to make it to the Human Rights Council for obvious reasons. And then ultimately, I think maybe the most important venue is going to be when the World Heritage Committee sits for its next session. They regularly review whether or not that designation continues to be warranted or if additional sites can be added. Jay, that's going to be a perfect forum for us to make that case. But look, ultimately, it is going to take the worldwide response that we are seeing, and that is going to continue to have to be led by the United States. And just quickly, Jay, one other statement I really think is worth us letting people know has been made. The chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, James Riss, together with the ranking member, Bob Menendez, so on a bipartisan basis, has said, we strongly denounce President Erdogan's decision to convert Hagia Sophia from a museum into a mosque. At points in his history, Hagia Sophia served as a place of worship for Muslims and Christians, and for decades has been an extraordinary and welcoming center to people of all faiths. Jay, that leadership from the United States is what it's going to take to make sure that this worldwide response ensues, and we will then in turn take that message to all these various forums at the United Nations.
If you look at church history and study persecution, what you find, and I've been doing a lot of reading the last week on this, because I was very concerned whenever you start hiding or covering symbols of Christ, symbols of people within, of the disciples, when you start covering the depictions of the cross or the baby Jesus, whatever it might be, and you start covering it as if it doesn't exist, you're attacking Christianity worldwide. You just happen to be using the situs of one of the holiest sites. Now, this is not the first time there's been persecution. I want to be clear something. I've been studying the persecution issue a lot. And this is an act of horrible discrimination against Christianity. But there have been martyrs for the faith because they dared to go into places like Hagia Sophia to pray. And there are modern day martyrs too. So it's not just, you don't have to just look back in history. I think about those kids years ago, it was about 20 years ago, that were praying around their flagpole, and that guy came up to them, the student, and shot them. But I only shot them if he asked them if they were Christians. I remember that one girl, it was like the last one shot, and her classmates heard this, and she had seen 5 or 6 classmates get shot by this lunatic, and he said the same question every time. And he asked her, "Are you a Christian?" With a gun pointed at her head. If the answer is yes, she was going to be dead. And she said yes. If you study early, that's a martyr. If you study early church history, there was reigns of terror aimed at Christians. Dacius, one of the emperors, in a 2-year period, tried to wipe out in 249 to 251. So this was right at the beginning of the church, right in the beginning of Christianity, tried to wipe out the entire Christian population. There was an individual named Leonidas who is now a saint, recognized in the Greek church and in the Eastern church and the Western church. And with him were other very young people. One is Saint Nika, 23-year-old woman. I almost said girl, but woman. Same exact situation as those kids faced. She stood for her faith. You can have those depictions covered in this case? You're going to allow that to take place? Andy, I think that's the fundamental aspect of why this is an attack on all Christians.
Jay, I'm impressed with your knowledge of early church history, and it means a great deal to me as a Greek Orthodox Christian, and Hagia Sophia is my cathedral. For you to be saying that to our audience, it means a great deal to me. You don't cover up the image of the cross. The cross is our salvation. The cross is what conquers. Christ conquers. Jesus Christos Nika. Jesus Christ, by that symbol, conquer. And Saint Nika, who was a martyr to the Decian persecutions in 283, exactly that. We must be willing to be martyrs for the faith, just like those Coptic Christians who were executed on the shores of the Mediterranean in Libya. 21 martyrs not that long ago, just a few years ago, were asked by the Muslims, "Are you Christians?" And they said yes. And one sub-Saharan, a black African who was not even a Christian, was asked, "Are you with these people?" And he said yes. And he too received the crown of martyrdom because he was executed. We cannot let the symbol of Christian faith, the greatest Christian church in the Eastern world, after St. Peter's in the West, we have Hagia Sophia in the East. We cannot let that church be desecrated by the new Sultan, Recep Tayyip Erdogan.
Folks, the ACLJ is doing work all across the country on all the issues that you care about, all across the world on the issues you care about. And we're able to broadcast it to you because of your support. We're able to do the work in our country because of your support. We're able to do the work internationally because of your financial support. And this is a great time to make a financial contribution to the ACLJ because it's a matching challenge month. What does that mean? We have a group of donors ready to match every donation that comes into the ACLJ right now at aclj.org. You're literally doubling the impact of your donation. Your $25 donation, that's what you're charged on your credit card, but that's like $50 for us to ACLJ. No amount too small, no amount too big. It all makes a huge impact. Go to aclj.org, be part of our matching challenge, and donate today.
Thanks to your support of the ACLJ, we have had many victories.
The IRS now formally apologizing to Tea Party groups.
If any group feels like they're being targeted, they can go to federal court and bring our case. That's a victory.
It's one of the most significant wins in the ACLJ's history, to take on the IRS and win.
For more than 27 years, the ACLJ has been fighting for freedom and liberty in the United States and around the globe.
These are young people in their 20s and 30s that are doing this. They're fighting for life at a whole new level to beat back the abortion juggernaut. But I actually think we're winning this. This is one of the social issues we're winning.
The release of Andrew Brunson.
We're flying and they finally left Turkish airspace. It's like, okay, we're really out of Turkey and free again.
We need your help as we continue this work here in the United States and around the world. Join us online at the American Center for Law and Justice at aclj.org.